Greetings, everyone. I'm here to talk about Module 5, Understanding My Community. I'm going to be talking about Goddard, Kansas, and Goddard High School. As you can see below here on my intro slide, I have the City of Goddard website or a clip of their website. And this is a picture of our Fall Fest. And despite the fact that we have only 4,500 people in the Goddard proper area, we actually have a lot of people drive in from Wichita, which is a part of our school district, to participate in this event. It's a really big event, happens in the fall every year. So to keep going, to know some customs and traditions, that was one of them. But general things, Goddard's known to have hard workers. They believe in their faiths. We have a variety of churches available here. We also believe in family, friendship, and on a side note of that, we do have a lot of many split families, and that's just becoming a reality of society, and that's one of those that we see in Goddard a lot. Um, there is a difference, and I'll continue to bring this up, but living on the south side of 54 versus the north side of 54, there are clear differences in that, but I'll address that as we keep going further, and why people do that. Um, Really, Goddard is a sleeper community. If you live in Goddard, you're usually commuting to work to Wichita, or maybe to Hutch, or Garden Plain, Cheney. There's some other communities nearby that you can drive to pretty quickly because of the highways that are easily accessible. Right now, 78% of households are family households, and 21% Protestant, 15% Catholic, and the rest are other or none. And we do have a lot of others, I would say that. Um, we also, our 15% Catholic is relative. We have a school system, Renwick School Systems is not far, and a majority of their residents are Catholic, as well as we have a 5A Catholic high school in Bishop Carroll nearby, and many of our Catholic students that live in district actually attend Bishop Carroll. So our enrollment could be much higher if Bishop Carroll wasn't sitting right there at the edge of our school boundary. They kind of sit between us and what is Wichita Northwest. So that creates a little difference in population there as far as our student population and in relation to religion. Um, Considering policy and curriculum, today, I should say yesterday, I'm writing this as of yesterday. Today we adopted a new ELA series, K-12, and the process involved vetting by teachers, board members, and community members. And I got a response from one of the assistant superintendents, and she said it went really smoothly. It actually, they picked two choices right away. And so curriculum changes for our district. They've been working on this since the beginning of the school year. And so from August to now, they've got these members together at four separate occasions. And she said after four meetings, meeting with different textbook companies, they had narrowed it down to two, and they were able to pick and choose between those two because the two resources worked fairly easily. So it's kind of interesting, the policy and the ability that they were able to come together as a K-12 group and make those decisions in, from August to now. So that's pretty fast, in my opinion. Um, Goddard handles change from the top down. It's usually dealt from the top, and they're experienced in it because we've been growing for 34 years consecutively. And we're always an evolving school system because we have to deal with that growth and that change. In any given building, you can have, in a population change, you could have 100 more students in that building the next school year. That's happened in a couple of our elementary schools recently, and they've had to bring on new elementary teachers just after enrollment because um, they tried to anticipate the population growth, but to prevent a 30 plus size school or 30 plus size class for each school or each group, they had to bring in more teachers. So that was a huge concern the last couple years because our enrollment has grown so rapidly. Part of that reason is that we have a lot of land out here that allows for growth to occur, and we have a lot of development, more so on the north side than the south side, I would say. But there are some farm territories that could be changed to developments, and some of them have been just down the road from our high school. But a part of that is just the movement of Wichita west to Goddard. Um, Over time, I believe that's what the city wants, but I'll talk about that here in a second. As far as population characteristics are concerned, there you are. There's the education levels we have, and this is as of the 2000 census, so this is kind of old data, but that's the best I could find. Um, The Hispanic Latino, it says it's 3.4% today. I would guess that's a little higher. We have seen an influx of the Hispanic Latino population grow in the last few years. I would guess it's probably higher. It's probably closer to 8%. Um, and then the rest of them have stayed relatively flat, I would guess. The Asian, African American, Native American percentages probably still pretty close. Um, the free and reduced lunches has also increased on our side of the street. Um, the SES scenario between the two schools, if you go to the north side, it's much more affluent. There's more money over there, so to speak. The housing in which people live, it's a higher dollar, and the business and industry that's around them is a little bit higher quality. So that has changed the personnel at our school as well as the feel. We have a very workman type feel, a blue collar mentality at Goddard High, and over on the other side of the street, on the north side, it's pretty well perceived that they are the haves, or the more haves, if you will, and they're in the higher level professional career track, so to speak. Not to say that our students aren't, but they're in their eyes and in many eyes, that side has a better shot. So we do currently tout a 92% graduation rate. I'm guessing that that's gotten higher because that rate came from when we were one school with 1,600 kids. We're now two schools with 7 and 900 kids respectively. And I would guess our graduation rate today, I know of last year it was 97%. This most recent class, I'm sorry, I should say 2016's class, 2015 graduation year. That was 97%. 2016's, I haven't heard the rate yet. I think it's approaching 98, 99%. We had a really good class roll through in that senior year last year. So more information, communication channels, we have a bunch. Just within house, we use Skyward, Remind 101, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. But we also have great access to KWCH, KSN, K, and on the radio, channel 963, and 1021 The Bull, and 101.3 KFDI. All of those are really great channels. They're really supportive. I'm on a first name basis with a few of the people within those organizations. And so anytime I need a little more press than I can get through our regular channels, I can get that. So they've been really nice and really were willing to work with us, even though most of them are based out of Wichita. The ones on here that you don't see, Time Sentinel is more of our local paper. It comes out about every other day, and they really highlight our kids and the things that they do. The Eagle will pick up some of that stuff. It just kind of depends on what issue they're running and what they're wanting to talk about. But for the most part, there's a lot of communication channels here because we're so close to a big city. You can see in there also we have 3% non-English speaking, and we do have some translators available, but for the most part, for students anyway, we try to improve their English speaking skills and rely on them to speak with their parents and translate between the two. But we do have translators readily available in conference situations or communication situations where we're sending out stuff to them and they need to see it in Spanish or another language. So to know community groups, the community groups we have here, Pathways Church has become a really big church in the community. We also have a Catholic church, but again, they usually work more with the Bishop Carroll School than they do our school. And then there's a couple other Methodist and smaller churches, but they all really rally around the schools, and we do our best to work with them and provide community support. This community is really about family, and what I mean by that is that you have like the Goddard Education Foundation, the Booster Club, Goddard Junior League, local banks, and all of these organizations, these groups that come together every year for Thanksgiving, for Christmas, and summer opportunities to provide for the community, and especially the people within our community that don't have those opportunities. The cooperation between our groups is a great deal. In fact, my daughter and I participate all the time in the gift wrapping at the end of the year every year to give to other families who are without. We really enjoy that, and I think it's a great lesson, not just for my daughter, but for our students in general. And I get my marketing group to participate in that, and all of our teachers here do that. That's just kind of the way we do things. We work within the community and help each other out. Um, as far as leadership is concerned, if you were going to talk about the community itself, Marcy Gregory is our mayor. We also have Brian Silicott as our city administrator, and they have worked really hard. And I've been fortunate enough to go to some of the meetings about the city of Goddard in relation and combined with the school district. We talk about how to improve the city. We had a star bond established a few years ago, and all things were looking positive. They were going to bring in a swimming pool and some other things, hotel and some other things. And here recently, even though the road is built and the land is prepared, they've pulled out of the project. So now they're trying to bring more people in. We have a giant Walmart that's really nice and not very heavily used. Trying to bring more business around that because Walmart's a big pull around here. Um, as we keep going, I've already talked about our mayor. I mean, her and our superintendent have become partners in one. And at one point, she was also on our school board. So she knows how important it is to connect the community with schools and the opportunities that it creates, not just to add on and improve the school itself, but the ability to provide opportunities for our students too, in internships and things of that nature. Um, how about economic conditions? Well, we're a commuter suburb. I think I already mentioned that. Median household income is $64,000. Stability, we have stable wages here. They're pretty competitive, especially at the school. We've got about 3% unemployment, and the median property value is $144,000. I would tell you it's lower on the south side, and it's much higher on the north side. The property around Auburn Hills and in that area is much more affluent properties. Um, as we keep going, the political structure, um, our school is very politically related and politically motivated, and we are one of the premier school districts in trying to deal with the tax issue and the school funding issue. We really feel like our students have been left without. Um, we've been a district that's been growing, like I said, and so to not get those continuous dollars to be flattened or put on a flat amount of money given to a school district that's growing is really hard and stresses our school because it's hard to provide more teachers when you don't get more money based on the student-based pupil or student aid per pupil, sorry. So that's something that we've been really passionate about. As far as social tensions, pretty low key. We don't have a lot of issues. You'll hear some random not racial comments, well, some racial comments, but some just, uneducated comments is what I would call them. We don't have gangs. We're the suburban area where people flee to. And religion is not an issue. In fact, they all worked really closely together despite the fact that they have different denominations. So it's really nice here. Probably the biggest issue is the split between the two schools. The haves and the have-nots are the biggest variances, and there's some complaining here and there for that. But I think over time time heals all wounds, and I think that's one of those things that's going to happen here. Some of the information, there's some resources that I have. We have a ton. It's all everywhere. I wish some of it was more updated. I'm ready for another census to get more information on that. I don't like 17-year-old data, but I take what I can get. As far as power structures are concerned, business and industry is heavily invested in our school, in our community. They make a lot of the decisions. Again, north side versus south side. I teach on the south side. Our view is that the north side kind of gets a little bit more favor because most of the administration, the district office, their kids go to the north side. So is that a slighted point of view? Absolutely. Is it biased? Absolutely it is. So is it real? Probably not, honestly. I think they want the best for all kids, but some of the feel is that their side gets a little bit more or has a little bit better stuff. But we're also due for a bunch of structural updates and things of that nature. No multicultural issues, none. We deal with English speaking learners very well. We try to improve their English speaking so they can communicate and be productive. School dress is not an issue. And the power structure, it's clearly we're more democratic. Our strategic plan drives everything, and the pursuit of justice for Kansas students is a major thing for us. So that's all I have this time around. I hope you enjoyed my slides. These